star, movie star, in a short. His first role he did was this kind of murder mystery short. It's good. I think it was the FBI in action or something like that.
So were the movies already talkies by the time you were going to movies?
Yeah, I can remember when they weren't though.
What did you see when that wasn't
Laurel
wasn't a
Hardy.
talkie? Yeah.
Laurel Hardy and Shandu the Magician.
Would that be the whole movie? Would you
Whole
pay
movie.
your dime and go in and you'd see?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would-
They were in Paris though. Those were when I was
Oh,
very
okay.
young.
Would somebody play the piano or an organ to make music
I don't
that
remember.
went with it?
I don't remember. It just scared the hell out of me. Shandu the Magician particularly.
Mm.
And but also Laurel Hardy, I can remember being scared because Laurel fell out of the window and his leg was attached to something and it kept slipping and I was it was supposed
real-
to be funny.
Real stuff.
Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was a little kid then.
Yeah.
Remember Vorley?
That was a family friend.
Family friend, wonderful. She's the gal who, I think she's the one who took me to Shandu the Magician. She was a wonderful Jewish lady in Paris, widow with lots of money. She had a Rolls Royce with the open cockpit forward for the chauffeur.
The chauffeur was
and then
the glass.
Aft was covered area. And she'd drive around Paris with this chauffeur, and I'd be sitting back there with her in this huge Rolls Royce. This nice gal. She was older then, I guess. God, Vorley had to be in her 50s at that time. She just looked ancient to me. That damn
Who gave
Rolls-Royce.
you the birthday party?
The Argentine gal,
Peacock? Ada Peacock?
Ada Peacock.
Ada Peacock. And she got her, was it in her house?
Yeah, her apartment in Paris. Gave me a birthday party, which I remember very fondly as being just a wonderful party. And later on in the years, she said, "That was terrible. You were crying all the time." I said, "That was a wonderful party. I remember it very fondly."
Had she hidden things?
Yeah,
for
I
you
followed
to
a
find?
string.
And, follow
Followed
a string.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Ada Peacock.
She was an artist?
To l'Estelle.
Imagine this is
Alors, le belle
Les
poitrine.
belles
Camera is pretty
poitrines.
amazing.
Yes.
What about turning that light on there?
Or the Christmas tree would make a nice big light.
Well, that
Yeah, that's one
the
thing I
spotlight
didn't
could be
enter
rotated
to here.
further.
It's not interesting.
'Cause I think
When
we're-
Go
Ada
ahead. Ron.
when Ada Peacock gave me this drawing, she was a commercial artist that worked for Flo Ziegfeld and did the sets and things for the Ziegfeld Follies, which were big extravaganza theater presentations.
Live theater.
Yeah, live theater. And Ziegfeld Follies were famous for the beautiful girls and so on. And Ada did this portrait for me of a Cuban woman rolling cigars on the inside of her thigh.
That's how they got the
Oh, yeah,
shape of the
shape of the
cigar.
And she dedicated to Petite Lestelle, who loves the belle poitrine. Belle poitrine being the beautiful tits. Evidently, when I was a little kid, the women had dandled me on their laps, and I plunged my hands down their bodies. I was fairly famous in Paris for doing that. I don't know what compulsion I had. It lasted a long time. She was Ada Peacock. Ended up in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
Buenos Aires.
And didn't she invite you to come down and visit, or were those other Argentinians?
No, those are
later?
Peruvians.
Hmm?
Those are Peruvians.
Oh, Peruvians.
They were the Gustavo Berkemeyer.
Birkenmeier.
Gustavo was a man about town. The Berkemeyers were very big. One of them was the president of Peru, another was ambassador of the United States. They're shakers and movers in Peru, and they were good friends of my parents. Gustavo had affairs with Joan Fontaine. He was famous for being the bed companion of many very good-looking women. And he was up. We were living in we were. Seems to me, my parents were still living back east, and I was at school at USC, and I went back east, and we were having dinner with Gustavo Berkmeyer. He suggested that I come down one summer to Lima as kind of a protege of his to learn Spanish. And my mother kiboshed that deal because she thought that Gustavo was such a rake that she didn't want her son exposed to that kind of living, which was probably quite perspicacious of her, but nevertheless, I probably missed a hell of a lot of good times by not going down there. Okay, Betsy, true
Yeah.
confessions for your time. True confessions for you.
True confessions. Boy, they're so tame compared to what you have, Lester.
Oh, heavens. Good-looking girl like you had all sorts of opportunities to misbehave.
I remember when you came over to the house after you and Carol had, she'd already married John Cole, and it was Christmas time, and I was upstairs, and I thought my mother was giving a glad greeting to our old dear neighbor, who was kind of my second mother growing up. She said, "Hello, Esther," and it was Lester. I came downstairs prepared to see
Yeah.
one and found the other.
Pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so we dated down in, oh, you said you were living in San Francisco and found out I was at Stanford, and you said, "Oh, I'll introduce you to my friends." Well, we met Dodie.
Yes, I did. No male friends.
No, not that I can remember. But we went up to Squaw Valley, and we married, and we had a cabin there.
Yeah, and I bought a house there, yeah.
Yeah. And
And
sold
then-
it to the Andrews family just before the Olympics that were at Squaw Valley in that area. Yeah.
And Dodie was in that. Was that the Olympics that Dodie was in?
No.
No,
no.
this was
Or-
later than her.
Yeah, Dodie was in the
Yeah.
3 Olympics after the Second World War. I think it was about 1948, I think.
That's Dodie Gann, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then Dodie Post.
Who later married Ernest K. Gann.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right.
Author of many books.
Many books.
The High and the Mighty, and
Yeah.
Band of Brothers.
Yeah. And yeah, she was in, I think, 48, 52, and 56.
Mm.
Participant in 2 of them, and the captain of the ski team on the 3rd. I think that was the chronological
Mm-hmm.
progression.
Yeah.
But she was teaching skiing over Squaw Valley,
And what were you doing? Were you still at U.S. Steel at that point, or had
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And their offices were out of San Francisco, or where were you?
San Francisco,
based?
downtown
Uh-huh.
San Francisco.
And is that when you had your house in Sausalito as well?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had the house in Sausalito. We had the duplex. First, we had a duplex. In partnership with John Manning.
And his wife Joyce.
Joyce.
Rodegertz Manning.
And
Yeah.
then they had kids and we had kids. That's where Eric was born while we were there. Later on, we bought a house in Sausalito on the other side. And
Up off of Spring Street.
yeah.
We've missed some
Yeah.
time in there because there was a time. Okay, so when you first got married, you had the Squaw Valley place, but then you guys
Yeah.
separated,
So,
or
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
had
split.
your marriage
Yeah.
split
It
for
split
a
for
little while.
2.5 years.
Oh, for 2.5
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think it was
'Cause-
2.5.
So you're
something like
married
that.
When we
for a
were first
year?
married, we lived in San Francisco and bought the property at Squaw Valley.
Yeah.
And then we were renting a place, a guest cottage of acquaintances over in Mill Valley or
So, San Rafael,
San Rafael.
or China Beach.
Yeah.
San Rafael.
And then decided that wasn't working very well. And so I went away and became a stewardess for TWA and met people who weren't like me, or Portlanders, or, lived in New York City and Hollywood in the Chinese castle, and did some growing up, because before we married I'd never paid a bill. I'd never had a telephone number in my name. It was just, I needed some growing room. So I came back and bought something for him down in Chinatown, one of those fish vases. Put it under my arm and walked up to his apartment and proposed to him. And he accepted. And so we married a second time by the judge. One of my stewardess friends, Joanne Moriarty, stood up with me. And Judge Fitzgerald, was it?
No, I forgot his name. It wasn't.
He was
Fitzgerald
Fitzgerald was
the one
something
that
else.
Let me off the
Yeah.
hook.
Had you been in contact much during that time?
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh
stayed
yeah,
in-
she'd
stayed in
come into
touch?
town.
Yeah, and Les sent me tickets to go to plays in New York, and yeah.
And so, did you
Yeah.
revert from marital status to dating
Yeah.
status?
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
But tell us.
Well, she'd come into town.
Did
I'd
you
say,
reclaim your virtuous condition?
Yeah, damn it. She'd come into town, fly in town, call him, say I'm in town, say, okay, let's have dinner. And during the course of dinner, where are you staying? Well, a hotel. Why don't you stay at our place? It wouldn't cost you anything. So
It wasn't
my
our place,
place.
it was your place.
My place, a little bachelor pad up under Coit Tower in San Francisco with a view of the bay and so on. Not a bad spot at all.
You gave some pretty good parties there, I understand.
Those we won't go into those. And
I think you should.
she'd show up, and so she'd come and stay at the apartment, and I slept on the couch, and she slept in the bed. I kept saying, "What? For God's sakes, we've been married." I said, "Well, we're not married now." So, Jesus. I mean, really.
Nobody else got me either. That should
No, but
be something.
that's, at the time, that was not important. But anyway, yeah.
So what kind of plane were you stewardessing on? And
Oh,
what was it like up there?
Concorde, the beautiful.
No, Constellation.
I'm sorry,
Constellation.
Constellation.
Connie, yeah,
I'm sorry. Yes.
Not a
Const-
Concorde.
Not.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful propeller plane. Jets weren't flying cross country at that time, and this was 1956, 57, yeah, and so it took about 8 hours 8 to 9 hours to fly from Los Angeles to New York. And I got an apartment in the Chinese castle on top of a hill up above Grauman's Chinese, and had 2 stewardess roommates. We would fly back and forth, fly out to New York, working one night, sleep all day in the hotel room, do something that night, take a day flight back to Hollywood, spend another few weekdays there, and then fly back to New York. It was just terrific. Met really interesting people, and got to go to plays. Every time I went to New York, I'd see a play.
Where was your apartment in New York?
It was down in the Village. It was about 5 doors off of Fifth Avenue on 10th Street, and right about 2 blocks up from the park that's at the end of Fifth Avenue. And that was just fine. Week after week, we rented a really nice apartment from somebody who wasn't there, but she had a locked closet that we weren't to get into. But just happened, the door came open one day, and
What was it?
books mostly, maybe papers. I don't know. We didn't get into anything but one book. What was it? Something rather risque, but that you wouldn't think anything of now. So little that I can't remember what the title was. But that was really neat. We were right across the street from the Fifth Avenue Hotel, the side of the hotel. It happened to be the side of the hotel where the garbage was collected at 4 a.m. and crushed in a huge truck. And I had the couch in the living room was mine for sleeping, and my 2 other roommates had the double bed in the bedroom. It was a small apartment, about 3 stories up, 4 maybe. And every morning there would be a great crushing of trash. Oh dear. Yeah. But it was really nice. I only felt threatened once in New York, and that was when because I was going from that apartment by subway out to the airport, which was LaGuardia.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd walk out and walk a block and a half under the windows of the women's jail and get into the subway and then ride out. I didn't have to make any changes from there. I'd ride out to the airport. And one time coming back that route, there was somebody following me between the women's jail and my apartment door. And so I surreptitiously got my key out. I crossed the street to be on the opposite side of the street from my apartment. The person following me crossed the street and was still behind me. And halfway down the block, I made a beeline across the street and unlocked the door and went in and shut the door. So that was as adventuresome as things got there. Then I went out to changed. I decided I'd had enough of New York. Oh, when first day I was in New York, I was wearing what I'd worn at college. I hate to say it, it's plaid knickers with a strap around, knee socks, plaid knickers. I don't know what, sweater or jacket or something. And I went into the bank to open my account, and the man behind the desk said, "What do you want to deposit, lady? You're booking your Apple?" I was going down to the park to sit in all innocence and read. Oh dear. Welcome to New York. Yeah. So I had the 2 roommates there, and it worked out just fine, and we stayed friends. One of them we still correspond, and the other has died. And then I decided that I was just about through with New York. I don't know. I had some seniority, moved out to Hollywood and lived in a Chinese castle up on the hill above Grauman's Chinese.
Now, what is a Chinese castle?
Well, it's a building with a courtyard in the middle with a goldfish pond and a rivulet, and the rivulet runs out and acts like a little river around this hill in Hollywood, and there were Chinese buildings there for people to rent, and have you ever seen the Magic Castle? There was a magician there. Well, anyway, that was the floor below us.
Oh, I think maybe I have.
It appears in lots of movies, or it used to. That
Must
was
have
what
been an
it's
exciting
doing
place to
now.
live.
Yeah, it was. There was a swimming pool, so you could meet people around the pool, and
Hollywood.
it was
Like
Hollywood,
around the
and
Chinese.
yeah, not isolated. There was a bartender downstairs, black man, and but most of the time it was spent going back and forth to the airport, and then the TWA would put us up in a hotel when we were at the other end, in the New York end, or wherever it was. So,
Yeah.
it was
So you
good.
got
I met-
airsick your
met
whole-
people and
Your whole time flying? Were you?
no, I didn't. No air, hardly any air sick, and I wasn't afraid of heights as long as it was in the plane. But I'd always been sensitive to heights, which Mother was too. She would, when we were driving with Dad was driving when you go on these vacations in the summer, she'd be looking, someplace other than out the window, and I guess I got it from her, because I wouldn't be able to, when I was training for doing my airline work, you'd have to climb up a rickety ladder. It was a push ladder, but it was, had a space between the top of the ladder and the open door of the airplane. And I had a very hard time stepping across that space. It didn't matter whether it was a couple of inches or 6 inches. It was just, yeah. But in a plane, there wasn't any reference to the ground, so I wasn't afraid of heights. So
Yeah.
did fine. Enjoyed it. Met people. Got to stay and see Aunt Mary Muller, Dad's sister,
Mm-hmm.
in Connecticut.
God, this is taking a long time. I can't imagine your entire life passing before you as you're falling out of a window.
I hadn't nearly as much mileage in years under me as I have now. I'd had hardly any
Yeah,
things happen.
yeah.
How are you feeling?
Sleepy?
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's call it for today. What do you say?
All right, sure.
Well, I've